You're listening to the Be Forever Cool podcast. My name is Rex45. And tonight, man, we got some cool people in the building. It's going to be fun. World Superbike was in Estoril. Shout out to Bobby Fung and Attack Yamaha. The boy had that Yamaha sliding sideways. But I'm not doing the show by myself. Let me bring in the folks and introduce them. TJ, what's going on, man? How you doing tonight?
And hanging in there, living in the New England weather. It's cold up here, so uh, a little depressing. Season's kind of coming to an end, but still watching that racing. It was a good weekend with the World Superbike and good to see Bobby falling out there and Garrett Gerloff and all that good stuff. Some Americans.
Listen, man, come on down, man. Florida is
Yeah.
nice. You know, it was 60 something this morning. Got up to the 80s. Good motorcycle riding weather. You know what I'm saying? Come on down, man. That's all I got to say about that. But yeah, you're right. World Superbike, crazy stuff. It's cool. We'll talk about what it means to have more riders in Motor America. I mean, in World Superbike as well. Not just World Superbike, but hopefully MotoGP. But let's keep the lineup going. Bobby Shakes was good, man. Welcome back, man. Man, like four days in a row, man. Was good, man. You know.
I mean, this is what happens when you're the Yamaha blue guy, right? When you're the Yamaha fake blue guy. I know nothing about Yamaha, but I dress the part. Look at that. I got the. You know how I got this though?
Do tell.
You know how I got this Yamaha stuff? So Chad Reed, is it Chad Reed, the dirt bike rider?
I'll go with that. I'm bad with names.
I hope it's Chad Reed. He came to the dealership and I did a full documentary on dirt bike riding, put out the video, and they played it at Gillette Stadium during the dirt bike race. So while the race is going on, in between the races, it would show my short film on motorcycle racing. And Yamaha was like, "Yo, man, give this guy all the gear. He makes good movies." So
right. It's motocross, not dirt bike race. Dirt
yeah.
bike race is what you do in your backyard with your friends.
Okay, all right. Motocross. Sorry.
But I appreciate the Yamaha. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely a fan. But let's keep it going because we got this show to go. Luis Ortega, the numbers guy. What's going on, man?
What's up? What's up, man? Yes, here, working remotely again. So I'm coming in remotely. So if everybody's just be a little patient with my audio. But I'm out here in California doing a couple of things, meeting a couple of people and getting some really good info that I'll share later on in the show, about attendance, about Moto America, about how things are looking and how things are going both, on and off the track for a lot of things.
Wow, man. I mean, I want to say you like, Michael Irvin, man. You do the show from anywhere. Definitely,
Anyway.
definitely appreciate that for sure. And we're going to keep it locked and moving. So let's just get into it. World Superbike in Estoril, guys. There was one champion that came out of the weekend. I think Top Rock was hoping he got that. That didn't happen. So it looks like it's going down to the last round. I mean, it's an uphill battle for Bulaga for sure. But before I don't even know, I'll leave this up to you, guys. What you want to talk about? You want to talk about Attack Yamaha and what they did in World Superbike first before we talk about the rest of the championship, or we follow that up? We start with TJ, man. How you want to kick it off?
Yeah, man. I think we should start with Attack Yamaha because I mean, what an experience to get the chance to go to World Superbike for the last two rounds. Like so, we still got a chance to watch Bobby entertain us and for himself to improve in one more round. That's still crucial because we still have to get a champion. So and for him to be out there, he's already seen a lot. Like he got the tires smoking. Even like I think it was race one. It was a crazy turn one incident that he just avoided. But it's good to have Attack Yamaha get that experience and bring that data over to the US. It's very good to see.
I completely agree. Bobby Shakes, I know you're a UK born and bred guy. I don't know if you're saying king at this point or still saying queen, because I think the queen still lives on. But what does it mean for a team like Attack Yamaha to go from Motor America to go spend a couple of rounds at the World Superbike level? I mean, we've seen this in car racing when people are trying to, I don't necessarily move up, but it'd be cool to see Attack Yamaha in World Superbike permanently. What are your thoughts?
This is how we grow the sport. This is how we grow attendance. This is how we put out more bikes. This is how the manufacturer grows. It's just an upward swing. It's all the big manufacturers have to participate because we want. Listen, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The motorcycle industry declines 1% a year every year. I don't know why. We have to get seriously tight and play defense mode now because the bikes are so damn expensive, right? I mean, Harleys are 40 grand. What are you going to buy? A brand new Harley? You're going to buy a car for 40 grand, right? The sport bikes used to be something that you could buy, wheelie, and crash and buy another one. You can't do that anymore. We have to grow the sport. And how we grow the sport is by getting all manufacturers in. We get them in at the race level with the technology, and all that stuff will trickle down. Not like wealth, right? Race technology is the only thing in humanity that really does trickle down towards poor people. So I think we need it. It's good for Yamaha, it's good for the sport, good for attendance, and just good for relevance.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I completely agree. And we're going to hear more about the attendance and stuff like that from the U.S. But Lewis, man, what are your thoughts on your boy Bobby and how he did this first round in Estoril? I mean, it's huge for Dainese, is huge all around Attack Yamaha. I mean, there's not a sad story unless it was not having another team from the U.S.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's huge for Dainese either way because the two guys at the front are both rocking our gear. So we're doing great. And then we've got a couple other guys rocking our gear. And as far as like, to me, the biggest part of this weekend, obviously, I'm looking at Top Rack. I'm wondering if Top Rack's going to lock it away this weekend. But Bulaga he's got a dog in him. He doesn't want to give it up. If there's an opportunity, he's going to take it. And even though they battled hard, you look at the racing, they're battling hard, but they're battling clean. Nobody can really say that somebody is taking me out, pushing me off my line. Like, they battle hard, but it's almost like they have a mutual respect battling hard. Like, I'm not going to take it easy on you, but I also respect you as a rider. I'm going to put it on you, but I'm not going to put it on you.
That's
so
one-sided, right? Because that's Top Rack doing all that pushing and jumping into spots that he really can't fit, and Bulaga is just, well, he's leaving the space. He's leaving the space.
Well, he understands that, there's different dynamics working here. So if you're on the outside, the inside, you know how you take a corner a little bit differently based on the dynamics of your bike. So maybe the way his bike works is a little bit different than Top Rack's bike. So he has to give that spot, not because he wants to, but because the Ducati works in a certain way and it leaves that spot open. And Top Rack those two guys haven't raced each other so much over the past 2 years. They know the dance. If you really are that top level of racing and you're racing the same couple of guys, you know what everybody's dance is. You know everybody's style. You know everybody's weaknesses, everybody's strength, not just the rider, but the bike. So you look for these opportunities. It's just the Top Rack bounces on every opportunity. And I'll give you this much. So does Bulaga. Bulaga, you leave the door open. My man is not going to wait for you to close it. He's going to kick the door in.
Right.
So, Top Rack's getting the best out of it right now, but, Bulaga's still a dog in the fight. He won that race that he needed to win. He stayed competitive all weekend. He did what he had to do. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have our boy Bobby Fong, man. And the one thing I can say about Bobby is, he went in there knowing that he just wanted to finish in the top 20. And he finished every race in the top 20. And every single race, he improved by one spot.
Yeah.
So if you look at what his free practice one time is to his final time at the end of the sessions or at the end of he improved by close to 3.5 seconds from his practice one to where he did his fastest lap time.
Right.
And you got to think about it, man. At the pointy end of the sword, improving 3 seconds is a lot, man. When you're a beginner, and you're going to the track and you go from beginner to intermediate, you could jump 15 seconds. But when you're at that very top echelon, like, yo, 3 seconds is a lot, man, to find.
Right. Yeah. And
And
this is first time there. And we've seen it with other guys, so he has to. I mean, regardless of how this next round comes away, I think overall the whole team has to come away, feeling good going into next season in Motor America.
I know for sure. I mean, the one downside they have is I'm sure they wish they could bring a truckload of Pirelli tires back with them, because they see what these Pirelli tires can do, and trust me, once you ride on a Pirelli and then you have to go back to Dunlop, you're like, damn, bro.
Once you feel
There's a
that grip, you're
vast
not letting
difference.
go.
Yeah, once you got that grip, man, it's like, so this is how a tire is supposed to work. Damn. All right, let's go back to these shitty ass Dunlops. But you know what? Him and the whole attack team have nothing to be ashamed of. They went out there, they showed up, they finished the weekend, they finished every race. I mean, there was a lot of DNFs throughout the weekend, and they weren't one of them, man. They stayed on the bike, they stayed up on twos, they made it through the weekend, and every single race 1, the sprint race, and race 2, they kept improving their position. They kept moving up from one to the next to the next. So they have nothing to be ashamed of, and they go into this last round again, man. They've got nothing to lose. They've got everything to gain, and I think the experience that the team and Bobby and everybody is getting right now is unbelievable, man. I think they walk away with a lot of W's. I don't see any L's here. I see a lot of W's.
Right. Now let me ask this, TJ. Do you think that World Superbike Motor America should have more wild cards? And I put this to all you guys, and the ones that want to speak on the financial part of that, speak on it. But as far as this, like, wouldn't it be cool to have a like almost, and I would say like almost like what the NFL does, but more than 2 rounds, right? I mean, if it's something that can happen throughout the season where there's a team from the U.S., I know scheduling, may play a part in that, but it would be a pretty good look. What are your thoughts, TJ, on that? Seeing more American teams in World Superbike?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we should have more wild cards. Like, I don't know if the last 2 rounds, like, would work, but obviously with the scheduling and stuff, that's what fits the best. But I think definitely at least 2 manufacturers should be eligible to be in a wild card to see more Americans. Like, our point of view is different. Like, we want to see Americans over there competing and finally get our foot in the door again. But we want to. How about their point of view? They probably want to also see more Americans come in and see what we got. So the more that we bring over there, the more fans that can participate in in the whole. So I think it's definitely not just one, because we're just focusing on Bobby at this point.
Right.
Whoever's in the round, but like if there's more than one, we got something to actually kind of put forward and put on the table.
Right. What are your thoughts, Shakes, on that? I mean, it's you're a numbers guy. You're talking about another numbers guy. You're talking about the motorcycle industry dropping 1% every year. I assume you're going from the 80s when it was beautiful and everybody was making money. But what are your thoughts on that? How much would it help the racing community by having more American teams in the U.S.? I mean, in World Superbike.
Again, it's when we look at the NFL has ran out of athletes in America. Like, there's just no more athletes in America. So now there's the NFL Africa. Now that's the new farm system. How many countries are in Africa, right? What does that do? That then opens the sport up and makes it more worldwide.
Right.
When you have the NBA is great when you got Jordan jumping around and winning championships, but I would like to see the numbers. Who did more for the NBA? Michael Jordan or the very tall dude for the Houston? What was his name? The
Yao
tall
Ming.
Yao Ming, right? Who did more for bringing the sport to a more national level? Was it Jordan or Yao Ming? Because remember, once Yao Ming came in and we cracked, because the Chinese market was tough. They loved this. They were locked in. But when Yao Ming came over, it just blew that apart. these are things that are necessary for sports to grow, the business to grow. We can scale by letting in good riders. Excuse me. And we don't want to water down the sport, right? There has to be a second, a second, like these are the seconds in, and you can't be that many seconds over. And then that allows you to come in because we still want to keep the quality of the sport quality. But it can't help to expand. And where are most of your sales coming from, Yamaha and all you guys? Like, where are your sales coming from? In America, I remember when I was a young lad in England, you couldn't just go to a dealership and buy a 1000. You have to start with a 20, then a 30, and you got to take tests, and you could go. But America's just
and you're talking about lawnmowers.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in America, it's a free for all. As long as you got the money, you could go buy the bike. But we don't want people killing each other. But we also try to move bikes too. So they got to figure out what market for them is lacking. And I think they do more sales in America than they do globally. You have to push the sport here, and you have to get it on the ground level. It's very simple. It's AAU. It's football in Europe. It's we expand. We look for new blood, right? And you can see that, especially in football now. Well, my football is, you have a slew of Africans, you have a slew of Spaniards, you have a slew of Italians, you have a slew of Brazilians, because they're expanding the sport out and they're just grabbing.
You didn't say English.
We're terrible. I mean, we suck. All us English people have to do is just one job: keep all the tracks dry. We just got to keep the tracks dry. That's all people are asking for, and we screw that up. So that just tells you how we are.
Louis, I don't know how you follow that, but you heard a lot there. There's some things to unpack. Is it doable? Should it be done?
I could try to unpack that, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. So Yao Ming, as an example, he did open the market up to a very big market. China is one of the biggest markets in the world because of the amount of people, just the population. But if I were to go anywhere in the world and say Yao Ming, or anywhere in the world and say Michael Jordan, 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to know who Michael Jordan is. 99 times out of 100, they're not going to know who the fuck Yao Ming is. Because there's a difference between a regional star and a global star. And Yao Ming was a huge star to get us into China. But Michael Jordan is that next level. He's that Valentino Rossi. He's that name that's recognized around the world. And as far as where the most motorcycles are sold, the highest volume of motorcycles that are sold for the Asian brands is not sold in the US. They're sold in smaller displacements in countries all around the world. This is why they don't put a lot of focus, because nobody's buying, there's a reason they are kind of discontinuing the R1. It's not because they want to. It's because they don't feel like investing in a platform that's not bringing them back the ROI that they want. I can either invest millions of dollars to build a new motor just for the R1, or I can take all that money and I can build more smaller displacement bikes that I can sell in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in all these Asian and developing countries, where these are places that eventually in the future, they're going to increase their ability to buy. Their buying power gets bigger. They're able to buy a larger bike. So I'm getting them and indoctrinating them into my brand at a very low price, and this is what they did in the US through the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s. And then in the mid 2000s, when the market here went to shit, it never recovered because this new generation is not looking to invest in these products again. And the price of the products has gone up. Is the only company that has a different market strategy is Ducati. Ducati doesn't make small displacement motorcycles for Malaysia and for all these places because they're not building in volume. They're building to a certain amount because this is the profitability that they want to maintain. So they don't mind selling a $30,000 motorcycle because they only need to sell 3,000 of those $30,000 motorcycles to make what Yamaha's making selling $30,300 motorcycles. So this is all the mathematics of why is Ducati doing more in racing? Because that's their bread and butter. Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, Kawasaki, racing is not their bread and butter. Racing is a nice place to display their name and put their name out there, but their bread and butter is in smaller displacements and trying to go into developing markets. So I think that explains a little bit of some of the stuff that Shakes was saying. I can't wrap my head around all of it because it was a lot. But now back to the racing part of it. The reason that we only get wild cards at the end of the season is because we don't have a World Superbike race in the U.S. during the season. If we had one round in the U.S. during the season, you would probably see 2 or 3 or maybe 4 people participate in that race because they don't have to pay the expense of shipping their bikes and everything else across the world to race in Europe or race somewhere else. Also, during the season, do you really want your rider that you paid for to race this year in this class going to Europe and possibly hurting themselves and screwing your opportunity up here because you do have sponsors that you're responsible to in the US? So these are all the little nuance pieces that people have to look at. The biggest piece that's missing is what I said in the last podcast. World Superbike needs to bring back one round to the US. And they need to make that round available to not only Superbike guys, but I would like to see 2 or 3 of our Supersport guys competing in Supersport. Right. If they don't have to ship their bikes, their mechanics, and all their stuff around the world, if they just got to travel to Laguna Seca or Coda or someplace else, then that's an opportunity for our racers to race on those platforms on tracks that they already know where they might be a little bit more competitive, where they don't have a learning curve, and they don't have to worry about a huge time change. They don't have to worry about bringing different mechanics, or it becomes a little bit more of a level playing field. They're probably still not going to be competing at the top level, but they will be more competitive and there'll be more engagement. You know, I'm looking at some numbers right now, and we'll discuss them later, but the opportunity is there for World Superbike to bring the platform here and let our riders use that platform to elevate their names. And who knows, maybe one of our riders, 2 of our riders catch the interest of some of these bigger teams.
Right.
And now the teams would say, hey, you know that guy that raced in the US? Maybe that's an opportunity to get a US rider into our team so that we can expand ourselves even more. Because right now, World Superbike is contracting. They're doing less races. They're going to less countries. They're in this weird little space where they've actually become smaller, not bigger. And whereas MotoGP keeps adding rounds, it seems like World Superbike keeps taking away rounds or keeps taking away destination points to try to keep the cost down. And it's going to hurt them eventually. Like there's no need for them to go to a place where they're not going to make a lot of attendance.
Right.
But to not come to the US or not come to South America, where you have fanatic motorcycle racers, like you're leaving out 2 big opportunities to get in front of a lot of fans and continue to grow your brand instead of shrink your brand. So do you want to be the European Championship or do you truly want to be the World Championship? Because you're going to fucking Australia, and that's fucking far, bro. It's not cheap to go to Australia. So you can go to Australia and you can't come to the US. It's like an 82,000-hour flight to Australia, bro. It's faster to go to the moon and back.
Well, I gotta assume that somebody over there dropping off a big fat check to Donna to make it happen, to show up. So but let's talk about the race a little bit, guys. It seems like it was a battle between just Toprak and Bulaga. Lewis touched on it initially. Was it the race, TJ, that you thought was going to happen, or did you think that Bulaga was going to fight back even more? He got one race, he finished second, which was the cleanest racing he's done in a few without bad starts and not getting very good grid positions. But what are your thoughts overall? And we can talk about the Lowell brothers in that, and Petrucci, who broke his hand and still is the top independent rider. Sitting out the next this past round and next round. So what are your thoughts, CJ?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a good track, good round. I mean, they were saying that it had low grip and all that good stuff, but Toprak and Bugala definitely put on a good fight for all 3 races. I mean, I was talking earlier, I'd never seen Toprak in a while, start the way he did, where he had to actually fight to get back to the front all 3 races. And I felt that he was just being a little bully. He's being clean, but a little bully, just getting around people and knocking off people's lines just to get to the front. But he made his way. Took him only 1 lap, so it wasn't like too aggressive. But for him to pull out the first 2 was really crucial for him to sustain this championship. And Buliga is trying really hard, so it's very important for him to get that last one. Still got a chance. That's all you want.
Right.
And just looking at last year, they had the same fight. They pulled out the same results basically. Top Rock took 2, Buliga took 1. So
right. Yeah.
Buliga was a rookie last year. So
yeah. Top Rock only walked away 6 more points. So that's as good a fight as you can get without winning all the races and taking away some points. Louis, what are your thoughts on the weekend as well? It those are both your guys because they're rocking the Dainese suit. So on one hand, it doesn't matter who wins. It's a win-win.
Yeah, it matters who wins. I personally, I want Top Rack to win because I want him to leave World Superbike on top.
Right.
But if Buliga wins, I want Buliga to also have a championship because this is a guy that's had a long journey to get to where he's at and to have this opportunity and to kind of know some of the background stuff that he's gone through to get to where he's at. I want to see him hit that, like the top of the mountain. I want to see him hit that pinnacle. So either guy that wins, I'm super happy for them. And I'm not actually sad for the other rider because if Top Rack were to lose, he's still going to MotoGP. He's getting his dream. He's getting his opportunity to race with the greatest guys and really see where he stacks up with the fastest guys in the world on the fastest equipment in the world. If Buliga loses, he has nothing to be ashamed of because he is literally racing what I consider one of the greatest superbike racers to ever exist, even though he only has 1 title or 2 titles. What Top Rack can do on a bike, jumping from manufacturer to manufacturer, being in manufacturers that nobody else thought even had an opportunity to win, and taking the Yamaha and being competitive with the Yamaha and winning on a Kawasaki and taking a BMW that had little shots of brilliance here and there, like maybe one guy raced a little bit and had a good time. But think about all the guys that have raced for BMW since BMW went in there. You got Marco Melandri, ex-MotoGP star, never got a championship. You got Scott Redding, MotoGP star, never got a championship. There's a long list of guys that have been on BMW and could never do what Top Rack did. Like, Top Rack will go down in BMW history as the guy that brought them their first World Superbike championship.
There's always going to be a 54 bike.
Trust me, man, he is more than welcomed in any BMW dealership in the country. I guarantee you that he's going to have a brand new BMW in his house every couple of years for the rest of his life. Like, he did something for them that you can't buy that kind of publicity. You can't. You have to earn it.
Listen, that withdrawal next season.
Oh,
they're going to be under the bridges.
They're going to realize when they put the guys that they have next year on the BMW, they're going to realize how special Top Rack was because nobody else has been able to do what he did. And he does it on a consistent basis. It's not a one-off. It's not a Scott Redding won because it was raining. It's not a Marco Melandri won because it's his home track in Imola or this happened. This guy raced the best against the best at a time that the best were really high on a bike that nobody else can do it on, and he did it.
And BMW's getting 2 former, one still in MotoGP right now, riders. So they're no slouches on their own. Both factory riders. So it's going to be. We'll see at the end of the season if how good of a rider Top Rock was in World Superbike. What are your thoughts, Shake, on Top Rock?
DJ, what you gonna say?
No, I was going to say just
Mr. Ortiz.
No, I was going to say he rose so well that they still couldn't even win the team championship. Ducati got it, Ruby. Right. So, the amount of work that he put in, bust his ass, basically won every race for the past like I don't know how many races, or just being on the podium so much that they still couldn't win the team championship. So next year, like you said, like this going to be a eye opening. Like I don't know who they're going to have on that BMW to. They can't
Well,
replace it, but to even try to get close.
they've got Miguel Oliveira, and who else do they have, Rexy? I know they got Miguel Oliveira and Petrucci. No. I thought Petrucci was going to the factory Ducati team.
No, BMW. No, it's Ika Luca Ono is going to BMW. I mean, going to Ducati, Ika.
Okay.
Yeah, Ika's going
to. Yeah. So knowing that it's Oliveira and Petrucci, BMW is going to suck next year. There you go. They ain't going to do jack shit. Oliveira's going to be lucky if nobody hits him. And Petrucci, I mean, I hate to say it, the guy got flashes of brilliance, but he's well past the twilight of his career, man.
Yeah.
Like they should have looked at a hungry little tiger in World Supersport and got a hungry guy from World Supersport and get him that spot. Giving Petrucci that spot.
I mean, Petrucci is fourth in the championship, man. Come on, man. He's fourth in the championship, and he's hurt and was hurt earlier in one of the rounds when he jacked up himself. And as far as Oliveira, I think Oliveira is in a similar boat to Bulaga because he's had such bad luck in MotoGP in the last few years. I think Oliveira is looking for a place where it's like he's Grand Hill right now.
He needs a fresh start.
Yeah.
Exactly. He needs to get traded to another team, get a fresh start, new coach, new players around him, and get an opportunity. And Petrucci being fourth in the championship, that's more of a slight on the level of competition after first 1 and 2 than it is that Petrucci has done so good to be in fourth.
Come on. No.
Wow.
Petrucci was nice in MotoGP, man. No, he was nice. He was nice on the factory team. He got 1 year on the factory. And he's don't get me and he's nice. He's a late bloomer because he was a cop before he came into MotoGP. Remember, he had stepped away for a little bit and he was a cop in Italy. When he came and jumped on whatever the Aventi, whatever.
Yeah. The what do you call it? The CRT team or whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, but again, he had to work his way up there. He didn't come in like Oliveira did and so forth. And even I mean, I don't think Ducati wanted to give him a 2-year deal factory. And he wanted a 2-year deal, and BMW gave him that. So, I mean, I think he had a chance for factory too, but I think it was just going to be like another 1-year deal for him. But we will see. I mean, they're both talented riders, and if somebody takes Oliveira out, then I think he needs to sell insurance.
When don't say if. When somebody takes Oliveira out.
Right, a movie called "Wrong Place, Wrong Time" for him because there's so many. So let's talk about as you said the discrepancy between 1 and 2 on the rest of the field. We see Anoni. Anoni says he has a ride for next year. He hasn't said with who yet. He's shown flashes of brilliance. I mean, but this is an older guy. Ika, even though he signed to Ducati and coming off an injury, he still decided to race that Honda. He seems like, I think him and Zarco want to win so bad. And I'll put a Costa into this that, they kind of just push a little bit more than what that bike want to give them. And Ika, crashed out a bunch, but he looked strong on the Honda. What do you guys thought about those guys and some of the other guys I haven't mentioned? But we're also fighting. Batista. He looked good even though he was struggling because he got 3 third places for the weekend. It was entertaining overall, but the star of the show was Bulaga and Taprock, and they did not disappoint. What are your thoughts, TJ?
Yeah, I mean, had a little fight, Ika. I mean, it's like mid pack. Yeah, like the Lowe's brothers and I want to say Bautista. I felt like he was just being annoying a little bit, holding up a pack of riders. And as they say, as the race goes on, his bike gets lighter, and he doesn't use as much tire, so he can still keep a good pace. So he was kind of a little all over the place in a couple corners, but he was able to maintain, 3 podiums as third place. But the pack of riders, I felt, still had a good chance to get up there. Um, Equal was one of them. Yeah, I thought that was
Jonathan Ray was
Jonathan. Yeah,
looking at
I was
flashing the
gonna
brilliance.
say, yeah, Jonathan Ray actually, had a taste for a third. And then, the second half of the race is he just drops off. But it's still good to see him up there. It was just a good fight after 1 and 2, fighting for like third and down. But I felt like Albert didn't have the best pace, but like that Ducati coming out of the corners, it just saved him basically. Where he was able just to pull away out of each corner where other riders just couldn't catch up to him in enough time, and didn't want to dive bomb, So, but yeah, I think Eco had a good weekend for keeping it up at least and getting the results that he had. But it was good to see, I guess, Albert getting 3 podiums in a row at his age, still showing that he still got it, and he is a good backup rider. I say, can still get you those points when you need them, and still has the intelligence to keep it going. But I don't see him as a number 1 rider.
Right. Shakes, I'm gonna give you your final words because I know you have to get out of here in a few. It looked like you're already trying to sneak out the house the way you're looking, like you're sliding alongside the building.
No. Something caught my attention on the monitor. So I'm like looking at the monitor. I need my glasses. I can't see shit. So I'm like, what's going on? Because I'm checking my focus because I'm on the manual focus. Blah blah blah.
Oh, got you. Yeah, but what are your thoughts on these older guys in World Superbike that's struggling a little bit? With Anone, who this is his second year in World Superbike. He had a 4-year ban from MotoGP for illegal substance. You got Petrucci, who's looking good, but he's breaking himself up, and some of these other guys. I don't know if you had a chance to catch World Superbike overall, but what are your thoughts of the Yamahas and the satellite Ducatis?
Hey, listen, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But we said this last Wednesday. As you get older, this is not basketball. This is not football. The cognitive nervous system start to deteriorate. It's harder to see stuff, harder space. It's a brain thing, and nobody beats Father Time. And that's what sucks about this and F1 is just the cognitive just starts to disintegrate with the G-forces and the training that it takes to even stay on those things and hold on.
Yeah, you showed that to us just now with your monitor and what you're trying to see.
Yeah, exactly. There it is. 20 years ago, I could have sat back here and saw the monitor. Now I'm like, oh, what's going on? There it is. There it is. I'm 51. It's over. Nervous system is gone. Eyesight gone. Hearing is gone. And you know what happens as you get older? Fear comes in. Right? When you're 20 and you crash, no big deal. Some die. That's not good. But 9 times out of 10, you can walk, you can stand up. You do a bad crash at 20, now you're 50, 60. You're like, I'm going to take my time down these steps. Just like racing. I've done this a long time. I remember that crash I had when I was 15, and I hated the way that felt. Now I'm a little bit older. I don't want to take that risk anymore.
Right.
And in this sport, it's on the edge, so it looks bad. But the body's competitive, the brain isn't. And like we said last week, you just deteriorate fast. Even in F1, you're watching Lewis Hamilton, you just deteriorate. It sucks, and it's overnight, right? It's sad, but God bless them, and you got to keep doing what you love. And you know what? Fuck it. Do you have to win? Do you have to win?
Yeah,
do you have to have money? Do you have to have all the girls?
You just got to win. I don't know about the money part.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to win. I think as you get older, you just want to compete still. You want to prove that I could survive the generations. So Go out there and have fun.
You
Fuck
coming
it.
out for hot dogs? What are you saying? You coming out for hot dogs?
I mean, come on. I mean, sometimes you're still competitive, but you don't have it. I don't think you should hang it up.
You think Enzo Ferrari had that philosophy at his elder age?
I mean, Enzo Ferrari thought he was a shit till he died. He would get an F1 car at 103 years old, thinking he could even start it. But yeah,
I see your point, though. Yeah, I do see your point. You're right. If you cannot maintain that fearlessness as you go into your twilight ages or as you get older and stuff like that, yeah, you do have to walk away from these extreme sports, and it is an extreme sport.
All right, I have to get at it, but my hands are up. Ortega was dropping bombs tonight, like he's calling out riders. You ain't good. My hands up. Don't shoot at me. My hands is up. Hands up. I'm not moving.
I don't drop a bomb.
Registration right there.
I carpet bomb, yo. I don't drop smart missiles, man. I just carpet bomb. I know everybody's gonna get some collateral damage.
Yeah. I know. I thought you were just taking out the nuclear side. I didn't know you're taking out the supermarket too.
All right, Shakes, man. Peace,
Love
man.
you guys, man.
Take care, man. Peace. Good seeing you.
Peace.
So, Lewis, man, let's talk about how Kawasaki is right now and what they're doing. I mean, the Bimoto guys struggled. Gerloff struggled. Is it a matter of just not having enough finance to put into this bike? Is it just more time? The Bimotos will probably do better next season.
Well, the Bimotos have a little bit more than the Kawasaki Direct, which is weird because Kawasaki themselves this year kind of threw their hands up, from my understanding, and really hasn't provided Garrett or anybody on a Kawasaki any support. Like, they almost threw their hands up this year, like, yo, just ride what you have and, do the best you can with what you have. To my understanding, they're supposed to do a little bit more next year. They're supposed to provide a little bit more support. But that's kind of a wait and see. Are they going to do that? Because just like the R1, the ZX10 is now very long in the tooth, just like the Suzuki, just like the CBR. And like I said, it's these Japanese brands do not have a huge emphasis on developing new superbike motors because that's not where the money is at the consumer retail level. It's still important for them to go racing and have their name out there. But until they get that emphasis on wanting to have competitive motorcycles, I don't see it happening. I see Honda making more strides than anyone else right now. I think Yamaha has kept pushing out the same bike for a long time. And now it's kind of coming to the end of its run where it's like, all right, now it really is starting to lose a lot of momentum. It's not as competitive. It's not this, it's not that. But Kawasaki, it seems like it gave up a long time ago. It's one of the reasons Jonathan Ray left Kawasaki is they gave up seems like 5 or 6 years ago.
And it's not even just at the World Superbike level. Club racing, you see these
club
guys,
racing,
like the Kawi was the bike, for a little bit to kind of face off against the R1 2015, 16, 17. Yep. And now you see those guys. Some of these guys are switching to BMWs and different manufacturers. And I mean, Ducati, BMW, kind of deal. Which is it's almost like. I don't know if they didn't understand that was going to happen. Maybe they thought people would still buy bikes if they didn't throw anything into it. But it's tough when you're putting up 18, 19, 20 grand. If you want to get really fancy and get the 28 grand Kawi, put more investment in.
And that's the thing. If you're going to raise the price on something, you got to raise the value of the thing that you're raising the price on. And you got to show that value is there. I can keep raising the price on something, but if I don't really change it, if I can just say, well, the price is going up because costs are going up, that doesn't really register to a consumer because they're like, well, last year I could have bought that same bike for $2,000 less. Mm-hmm. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a used one. So now you start losing the new buyer and you convert what should be a new buyer into a used bike buyer. And now they go to the used market. And now as a manufacturer, I don't see the sales anymore because that consumer is not buying my new product. They're buying my used product. And that used product doesn't bring any money back to me as the manufacturer. So then I'm like, well, wait a second. This isn't selling. Why isn't it selling? I'm selling less. So now I need to increase the price to make up the difference for what I lost. And then all you keep doing is taking that new buyer and pushing them back to the used. So you become part of your own self-fulfilling prophecy. You're pushing the new buyer away because you keep raising the price, but you don't keep raising the value, and you don't show the value because you don't support it by going into racing or doing these other things. So it becomes this very circular thing that the only thing that can stop it is the company decides we're going to make a new bike.
Right.
We're going to set the price here, and we're going to invest this much into getting the bike in front of consumers so they can see how good the bike is.
Yeah.
Nice. And unfortunately, the Japanese manufacturers aren't in that mindset. The only one that seems to kind of be coming back around to that mindset is Honda. But again, we'll wait and see because the CBR SPR has been around for a while now, and it's shown a couple of flashes of brilliance here and there, but it's not competitive week in, week out. You know, it's starting to do some things, but it's not there yet.
It's not there. TJ, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki and Suzuki, your brands. You got a Yamaha, you got a Suzuki. I got two Yamahas. It's like you heard Lewis say, they're starting to come around. Honda is a little bit too late. I mean, we do see the flashes of that in Motor America. If you look at some of the European rounds and BSB rounds and stuff like that, we see Honda at World Superbike. We see it. The Honda's gotten on the podium. But is it too late for the fans? I know if Smitty was on the air, he'll probably say no because he's diehard Honda guy. But we're not seeing that trickle down to a lot of CBR 1000 RRR.
I mean, I don't want to say it's too late. Everyone likes to see improvement. So when you do better as the season go on, like you can get a grasp on it and say, hey, it just brings you more attention to yourself. But what I'll say is if like next season, if the same thing happens where Honda doesn't find themselves to like the end of the season, it's just like, you guys just, I don't know, just developing too late. It can't keep up. But I don't think it's too late. And, I'm not a super big Honda fan, but I just know, just being on the podcast with Smitty, I just know how happy he is right now. Just seeing this Honda actually being a little relevant and getting finishes and just looking good overall compared to like how they started. So it's good to see that. But yeah, I don't think it's too late. But as far as like being competitive, like yeah, they have nothing to really shoot for. But it's always to get better results each time out.
Yeah.
And just slightly going back to Kawasaki, like and Garrett Gerloff, and I just feel so bad for him this season. And I think he re-signed again. But I just remember the year, like he hasn't really had any good results this year, and just being Top Rock's teammate the year before on BMW, even though Top Rock killed it, like he was able to still find good finishes here and there. And like right now, it's just like I don't know what's going on. And like Lewis is saying, like they just gave up, and it just sucks to see that when you're a rider trying to get better results. As long as they kind of still paying you and whatever, but still you don't want to be always in the back of the pack.
You heard you heard what Shake said about winning. I think like Cam and these guys that raced in Moto 2 and even Moto GP, and then come over to a different category, and you go from the middle of the pack or top 15 to top 5. It feels good to walk around being top 5, top 3. So I mean, how Gerloff, if he came back to the States, he's what he's like, oh, who's number one?
I mean, you can even see the levels. I mean, like where we sit as Americans, like in our level. So you go to World Superbike, obviously it's I think Bobby's first time, and the bike's not too developed as like what Bulaga and Top Rack's doing, but he was still in the back of the pack. Like he still has a lot of work to do. It's not like he just went over there and was just mid pack because of his skill level. So it's just still like it's still you want to see improvement and
Right.
just to be in the back.
Right.
No,
You're right. It's not just Bobby Fong. I mean, it's the whole team, right? Because it's one thing to be the top team in your arena or field, or in this case, the U.S. And then seeing how those guys are moving over there and stuff like that. So I think overall, the whole team. Which I think is cool to see, because last year I believe only Gillum and maybe a couple of people went over when he rode. He didn't. There was not like the whole team from the U.S. So to have that whole team come over, and Reese is over there as well. So I think the teams from Gagne and Bobby are over there. So I gotta assume when they come back, they're gonna have a little extra.
I believe that. I believe that for sure. And then it's just like I said, the 2 rounds is really good. Where you kind of can feel comfortable. So like just not one and done, and like wait till next year.
Right. Right.
Like he can actually like, all right, I know these riders' tendencies now. At least the pack that he was riding with, Bobby. And like, all right, let's see if I can stay with them next time. Let's see what they can do with this track. Let's see what I can do with these tires. Like, you have another chance, and it's just good to see. And hopefully next year we get 2 rounds again, and maybe like Lewis said, some super sport riders, and hopefully they can come to the U.S. But
right. Yeah. No, it's crazy to see, and I know. I'll move to Lewis and just add this. I mean, Bobby's pretty lucky, right? Because Gagne has won so much with that team, and if it was a difference in the points this year, it might have been Gagne on that bike instead of Bobby. So to be a first year guy on a team and to do that and then get this opportunity, and it's going to make him even a better rider for next year, is a beautiful thing. But Lewis, you said you had some things you wanted to touch on, and about what's things to come in, the numbers in Motor America and such.
Yeah, so I wanted to go through. So I got an early draft of what Motor America is going to put out soon. Just overall numbers for the season, overall number for attendance, how things were from event to event. And I got to kind of look at just a quick snapshot today. The official information, I think, will get released like the end of this week. But overall, like Moto America had a very big increase in attendance overall for the year, which is great. Considering the tracks that they went to, and some tracks had better attendance than others. But overall, the attendance this year, the participation, the engagement this year did increase dramatically from last year. And even last year was a good step up from the year before. So since COVID, we've seen this steady increase in Motor America attendance year over year. Mm-hmm. This year, it was a little bit more than just a steady increase. And a lot of it, as much as people like to shit on the baggers, a lot of it can be directly contributed to the baggers. Any event where there was baggers scheduled to attend had significantly higher attendance than any event that did not have the baggers scheduled to attend. And that's an eye-opening thing. That is, you're reaching out to a new fan base that is not a normal fan base for road racing. You're engaging with them, and they're willing to come out and watch the races, which is crazy to me because we got all these I didn't realize how many MotoGP superstars and financial wizards we have on the internet. We have millions in the US. I mean, I'm surprised I have a job with all these geniuses that are out here on the internet spewing all their dumb shit about why they think Motor America is failing when actually Motor America is doing very well. It's just that they refuse to admit that baggers are a big part of why Motor America is doing very well.
Right.
And, I think just looking at the data, I think you're going to see baggers at more races next year. because they're going to want to capitalize on the fact that baggers have 6 rounds in MotoGP. The
12.
first round
Sorry, 12.
well, no, they have 6 MotoGP rounds that have baggers in them.
Right. No, it's 12.
No, it's 6. It's 6 events.
Oh, I thought it was 12 events for next season.
No, it's 6 events. It's
Okay.
Coda. Yeah, it's Coda, Mugello. It's 6 events, and all the events are pretty much in Europe because they don't want to fly the bikes to Asia and Indonesia and all these other places.
Right.
But at those particular events, I think even in Europe, they're going to start seeing some significant turnout because the big thing with these events is Harley Davidson goes in and spends a lot of money when they go to these events. In 2024, and again, these are estimates that I was given, so take them with a grain of salt. It's estimated that Harley Davidson invested about $400,000 in attending MotoGP in 2024.
Wow.
Between what they did at the track, which was a massive activation, and what they did at events around Austin during the weekend of MotoGP, which is, $400,000 is not peanuts. Nope. It's a lot of money. And you and I were at MotoGP this year. I can tell you that the attendance this year was visually smaller than it was last year when the baggers were there. When the baggers were there was hardly any place to park motorcycles because there was Harley Davidsons parked everywhere.
Wow.
And this year you could walk around and you could visually see the area where Harley Davidson was at had so many less people. And overall, just walking around, you could visually see there was so much less engagement in this particular fan base of motorcycling that doesn't really care about sport bikes.
Right. So Motor America needs to just have Harley Davidson at every round.
They should. Well, not at every round, because even with baggers, there's some rounds that Motor America does that I'm not going to say they're a loss, but they will never have the attendance at those rounds, unfortunately. Like when they go to Coda, they're never going to get a massive attendance at Coda, only because Coda is the site of MotoGP. And at that particular track, if you get 40,000 people that come out, it looks like 8 people show up because the track is so big that 40,000 people looks like nothing.
Walking for days.
Yeah, you're walking for days. You and me been there, man. Like you're like, damn, if there was ever a place to have a scooter, this is it.
Right? Seriously. Get them shoes with the wheels in the bottom.
Yeah, what are they called? Wheelies?
Helix or something.
Yeah. The other event that doesn't show up a lot of people is the Ridge.
Yeah.
The attendance at the Ridge is not that great. The attendance this year at VIR was good, but you got to remember they hadn't been to VIR in a couple of years, so it's a little hit miss because if you don't go on a regular basis, you see a decline.
Right.
And then the other place that they had a little bit of a decline, and it's because of the scheduling. They had Barber, and then they immediately had Road Atlanta. And from Road Atlanta to Barber is only about a 4.5, 5-hour drive. So you're taking from the same pool of people, and you want them to go to this track from one weekend, and then 2 weeks later go to another track. So you're cannibalizing your audience because you're not going to pull as many people to one location when you divide it over 2 locations that were within a 4.5, 5-hour driving distance. Wisconsin, Road America, biggest turnout. You want to guess why? What's in Wisconsin, dude?
Jeez.
The home of Harley fucking Davidson. And you know what else they had at Wisconsin? Baggers.
Yeah. Now that makes sense.
Massive turnout because you're in Harley Davidson's backyard, so they're going to invest. So this is one of the things that people need to they need to stop shitting on the baggers and understand that the baggers are bringing attention to the sport, whether you like them or not. And what I would like to see is more baggers out there. However, there's news that just broke. Breaking news. Indian just got sold. Polaris no longer owns Indian. And they're going to sell it. They sold it to a group that's being an equity group. So that's always good news. They sold it. They sold it to an equity group, and it's headed by the former president of Vance and Hine.
Okay.
So this is a motorcycle guy. He actually did work for them for a long time, and before that, he was a VP at Harley Davidson.
Okay.
So it might be a good fit. You know, they're spinning it off into its own company.
Makes sense.
To try to be a little bit more of a direct competitor with Harley
Harley,
Davidson.
yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and they had their moments. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, people were buying them. I don't know if they thought. I don't know what they thought, because there was a good amount of people that were buying them instead of buying, you know, some of these Harleys and some of these other bikes, who didn't want the big BMWs and stuff like that. So I'm surprised that they were struggling, and you know, I think, you know, in the last 5 years, I don't see a lot of Indians as I was seeing, like, you know, before the pandemic.
I think what they need to do is that, one, they have better technology in their bikes than Harley does. I know Harley is doing a lot of changes now. They're kind of changing their lineup, and they're going to bring back a sub $10,000 Harley Davidson to try to get that entry level rider. So they're doing a lot of good things. Like the new president of Harley Davidson has a little bit of an eye on the ball for the future, and they understand that they need to start that by having an entry level motorcycle that's well equipped, under $10,000, to get their consumers at an earlier age into Harley Davidson and indoctrinate them into the Harley Davidson culture. Indian needs to kind of go back to the same thing, because Indian started making bikes that were way too expensive, over-engineered, and all this other things. They need to go back to building a motorcycle that is for the masses, that is at a price point that has the Indian styling, the Indian heritage, and try to get back to, you know, indoctrinating these guys and these girls in their teens, in their 20s, and so forth and so on. And I think they have an incredible opportunity, because they're going to come into this market not in a lot of debt. You know, they're going to come into this market with a company that, from what I understand, is very, you know, has a very deep portfolio and has very deep pockets. And if this company invests in Indian the right way, invests in the dealer network the right way, makes it affordable and profitable for dealers to carry Indian, because remember, this is another place where Indian and Harley vastly different. Harley wants you to be an only Harley dealer. Right. Whereas Indian does not mind if you put a Ducati or a BMW next to an Indian, because to them, it opens up to more opportunities for more dealers. So I think Indian, if they play their cards right, if they come up with the right lineup and they place it in the right dealers and have the right support and the right infrastructure, they can quickly see their sales turn around and increase their market value. But again, I just got a text about this from somebody just telling me, hey, Indian just got sold.
Wow, that is hot off the press.
And so real quick, why won't there be more bikes on the grid? Oh, you said less bikes?
Well, the problem is, if Indian gets sold, Indian was supporting a lot of the people racing on the Indian racing team. So before, when Polaris owned them, they already had a preset budget for racing, a preset budget for this, preset budget for that. Now this new company came in. Is this company going to be interested in going racing? And if they are, how much are they willing to invest up front? Whereas Polaris in the past was kind of floating the bill for Indian to go racing. Now Indian has to float that bill all by themselves under this new ownership. And you have to look at the numbers. You know, if it's going to cost me $2.5 million to go racing, is that $2.5 million that I'd rather invest somewhere else? Well, as a company that's now your own standalone company, you don't have somebody else's piggy bank to dig money out of.
Well, I mean, the fact that they did all what they did was maybe in the process of being sold, or in the guise of being sold, like kind of what we saw MotoGP doing when they were overhauling their website, getting rid of some of these old big contract guys, bringing all these young guys in and signing them at you know, lower cost, obviously, and stuff like that. You know, so maybe Indian was already, you know, I've been through a couple of companies that in hindsight, the writing was on the wall when you see people pulling out their measuring tape, and you think they're just going to be hanging plants.
Most company buyouts like this typically take about 2.5 to 3 years. Like that's when you're at this size of a company. And I've known, you know, I've been with several companies that have been bought and sold. It's usually about a 2.5 to 3 year process between looking at the books, setting up the sale properly, making sure your EBITDA is in the right way. And for those of you that don't know what EBITDA is, don't worry about it, but it sucks. But if you're in business, you got to know what your EBITDA is. And making the numbers work so that when the next buyer picks it up, they kind of can pick up the ball and keep rolling with it. And usually there's a transition phase where for 6 or 8 months, the top level executives of the old company stay in place to kind of hand the baton off to the new executive. And after about a year, all those old executives get their final buyout and the new executives take the ball and keep running. So there is a possibility that the Indian team and the racing department is going to stay as is, but there's also an opportunity. Maybe it'll grow.
Right. Well, we hope that because we like to see the motorcycle industry grow. And speaking of go and grow, we're gonna get out of here. But who's gonna, what's gonna happen in Phillip Island this weekend? Coming weekend.
Let's see. Well,
he's like, pigeons.
I was like, wait, we still talking about SuperBike? No, so yeah, we back in MotoGP, and it's gonna be an exciting weekend because we don't have Mark out there. Like you said, we don't have a couple riders. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like, I don't know if Bez is gonna be 100%. Like, that's like Mark, Bez, and they're like the top front runners.
Hey, listen, somebody want that bonus money, man. Come on, that's beer money right there.
And I want to say Fabio's finally going to come on his own and pull something out of his ass. And it is a fast track, and I know it's going to be hard to keep the pace, but there's those top riders are just not there. I don't know if Pecco can keep that Ducati and stay in front of everybody. So,
yeah.
But it'll be nice to see him back on the podium with nobody out there. Well, there's a lot of riders out there. You know what I'm trying to say. The champion's not out there. Martin's not out there.
Yep.
Maverick's not out there. So,
right.
I'll say
if Reese was here, he'd say Pecco's not out there, even though he's out there.
He's only there for fourth and fifth.
Yeah. So hopefully you can change that to third, maybe. But yeah, it would be good to see like Fabio, maybe one of the Honda guys. Definitely, I actually want to say the VR46 Academy. So,
I'll say that. I'll say this, and then I'll ask Lewis. I think it's any like the top 10 guys from the last round. Like all those guys, had a chance and had their moment if they get the setup right. I think any of those guys, because like we see and we know that the top guys are not there, and so here's a chance to steal one. What are your thoughts, Lewis?
I want to go young, man. I want to go Acosta. I want to go
Raul.
I want to go young, man. I want to see these guys that kind of showed up at the Aldeguer. Like, I want to see these young guys back up there, man. Don't make it a one-off. Like, show up and do 2 in a row. Show that you can, this wasn't a fluke, man. Right. I've been in this place for a while now. Let's do it. The KTM should do well at this track because they've got the grunt down the straightaway. Aldeguer should do well because he's been showing now that he can, like we said earlier, he needed to put a complete race together. Get the bike to work at the beginning as good as it works at the end and run a complete race. And this past time he showed, hey, I got the bike to work in the beginning and it works just as good as the end. And I was able to run a complete race. And look what I did, man. Right. In 2 races, I was right there.
And Acosta is hot because he got it. He's hot because I would be hot. I'll be hot.
I got nipped by a rookie.
Yeah.
I'm hot.
He don't even have a nickname yet. I don't think he even got a nickname yet.
What is that? What is it called? The shark?
The shark?
Yeah.
Dude,
he just got hit with a killer whale by a killer whale.
Acosta's like, yo, but I'm the shark. And this guy don't even have a nickname, bro. He don't even have his own style. He uses a yellow 54 that Top Rack is trying to buy for him from like $50,000.
He's a lucky guy.
He's Mr. Nobody too.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, I got beat by nobody. that didn't do anything in Moto 2. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a Moto 2 champion.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
So I think him, and again, I think if Bez isn't at a 100%, then Aprilia's next best chance is Raul.
yeah. That's true. Yeah,
You
you're
know,
right.
Raul's running the shit out of that bike right now, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So
Right. Young guns.
we'll see, man. Young guns, that's what I want. Young faces on the podium. You know, just can't even drink the prosecco because they're not even of age.
Right. It's funny to see when they're in Qatar and they can't drink and they just clinking bottles and putting them down.
Clinking bottles and giving them milk. Like, here's your milk, man. You can't drink this. This is for adults.
Oh, my name is Rex45. It's the Be Forever Cool podcast. We got TJ from Two Wheels and Coffee. We got the real Luis Ortega, the numbers guy. Peace.
Peace.